Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unshackled for Life, where we're unlocking prosperity and liberating wealth. I'm your host, John Green, and in today's episode, we're talking about becoming a mindful consumer. So, let's think back. What's the most recent thing that you regret buying? And why do you regret buying it? In today's episode, we're going to talk about some of those things that we often buy that take away from us building wealth. All right, we'll address impulse spending, how to avoid it, and how to become a mindful consumer. By following today's advice, my hope is that you will find some extra money at the end of the month that you can use towards paying off debt, building an emergency fund, and or investing to build wealth. All right. So let's get started. Impulse spending. We've all done it, right? We're all guilty of it. When we think of impulse spending, it can be, as simple as going to the grocery store and getting caught up in the impulse aisle right there by the registers where they have all the candy and lighters and whatever else that they have up there, just all the little tidbits and trinkets that make you say, "Oh yeah, I need that," even though it's stuff you would never, you didn't initially plan on buying at the supermarket. Stuff like that. It could be, when you're online shopping. Nowadays we have all of those targeted ads. I mean, that's what all of these companies are doing. That it's not a matter of whatever service they claim they're doing. It's all about mining the data so that they can find ways to sell you advertising. So, when you get caught up with that advertising and you start buying things online, it's just another impulse purchase, things that you didn't intend to do, but you end up doing, and it's money going out that you never intended to go out. Other examples would be, going off to buy coffee every day. That's usually a big one. It could be, being caught up in whatever the fashion trends are, needing the shiniest, newest tech gadget. A lot of those things can lead to impulse spending. All right. And then one of the bigger ones are subscription services. All right. A lot of us, have subscription services with multiple, TV providers or video providers. Um, some of you subscribe to different content people and, different content creators. And depending on how many you subscribe to, that may, be pulling away from your monthly money as well. So, things like that. Um, when we talk about, what that does to us, it takes away from our bottom line. If we're here to try to build wealth, if we're trying to build wealth, or if we're trying to get out of debt, maybe we're trying to save up for that emergency fund, then you have to cut back on some of these impulse purchases. And not only cutting back, but you have to train your mind to not continue doing them. Okay? And that's something that comes with time. It doesn't usually happen overnight. But I'll try to give you some advice on how to avoid these things, and then how to become what I call a mindful consumer. All right. So let's now transition into how to avoid some of these impulse purchases. Um, the best thing, and one of the things that I really emphasize to everyone, is to create a budget. Have a monthly budget. Every month, sit down, plan out your month, or every paycheck, whatever, however you want to do it, depending on how often you get paid. You may want to sit down, create a budget, plan out for all kinds of purchases, including the things you enjoy doing. Okay. At no point am I ever going to tell you to not have fun, to not enjoy yourself, to not put you first. All right. It's a good idea to do the things that you love to do, even, when you're trying to get out of debt, that there's no need to starve yourself from enjoying life. You still need to enjoy life. That's, it's one of the ways that most people stay motivated, myself included. But you want to create a budget, make a list whenever you go shopping. So whether it's for groceries or what I like to call a Walmart run, where stuff that I don't typically buy in a grocery store. Whatever it is, have a list. Have a list so that way you're staying focused. You know what you're getting. Try not to go off the list. Yes, there's gonna be times where you will see something where you're like, oh, I probably, I forgot to put that on the list, but I really do need that. Okay, get that. That's fine. But stay away from, finding all, just walking aisle by aisle. Try not to do that, because when you walk aisle by aisle, it's real easy to find stuff that you did not know that you needed. All right. Or wanted, which is really what that is. But do that. Another thing is, try waiting it out. Try the wait it out method. Something that, my wife and I we try to do when it comes to purchases. We'll tell ourselves, okay, we're not going to buy today. We're going to give it at least 24 hours to think about it. All right? Done that with the last few cars I bought. And it's been a pretty good, it's been a good strategy. It's been nice. When you wait it out, it'll really give you some time to really consider if you really needed that thing. Because even if you go back the next day and it's no longer there, it's okay. Because now, it's another day and you're like, okay. Yeah, I may have missed out on it, but all right. I missed out on it. Wasn't meant to be. So try the wait it out method. That's usually pretty good. That's another learned behavior, something you have to practice. It doesn't come overnight, but when you give yourself some time before purchases, especially bigger purchases, you'll find yourself making less of those types of big dollar impulses. Um, Another one is to limit your exposure to things like scrolling on your phone or scrolling on the internet. Just try to avoid browsing. Stay away from all of those marketing emails that get slammed. You might even want to unsubscribe to a lot of those things. Usually I will spend a day during the summer where I will usually go through all of the junk mail that I have in my email, and I purposefully go through and unsubscribe to different things. Um Even though for some reason it seems like every year those emails tend to pop back up at some point, but so be it. At least I'm limiting how much exposure I'm getting from all of those, marketing emails that come through. Um Try and think of another thing. Oh, and another thing you should do, keep your eye on the prize. Always think back on what your goals are. We've talked about financial goal setting. Think about what your financial goals are, and before making an impulse purchase, ask yourself, is this purchase in line with my goal? And I think you'll find yourself reconsidering a lot of those purchases. Um I'm not as frugal. I like to bring my wife up a lot, but my wife, she's a pretty frugal individual, and I'm not as frugal as she is. But it's funny when I talk to her. I'm always coming up with ideas to spend money. I'm a spender. She's more of a saver. But when I come up with my little ideas of how we can spend our money, she's always asking me, like, hey, is this really going to make us happy, or would you rather get to point X, which is what we've been talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, point X. Point X sounds a lot better. X marks the spot. So, think of that. Think about your goals. Don't lose sight of them. Keep them at the forefront of your mind, and you'll start to spend money a little different. All right? All right. So, the last thing, this is kind of a quick episode this week. The last thing I want to talk about are tips for being a mindful consumer. So here's 5 quick tips, and I'll talk about each one in a little more detail. So number one, choose quality over quantity. That's something I've had to learn in life. Um, Always, again, spend mindfully. That's kind of like the main thing here, mindful consumption. Spend mindfully. Really pause and think about what you're purchasing and if it's a necessity, if it's a want, and if it is just a want, does it align to what your goal is, right? Track your expenses. So, kind of keep track of where your money is going so that you can find where you need to make adjustments instead of just spending aimlessly. So, keep track of where your money is going. That's not the same thing as making a budget. Your budget is to help you stay on track, but you still need to track it, still reflect on where your money's going at the end of each month. Find alternatives for the things that for the thing that you're looking at, especially for like hobbies and entertainment. There's lots of free entertainment. When it comes to hobbies, we have parks, we have public places where public organizations that you can join, meetup groups, things like that. You can find ways to occupy your time with fun and with entertainment. Just do it mindfully. All right. And then also educate yourself. Continue to learn about financial literacy. The more you know, the more you grow, as they say. um, when it comes to personal finance, the more that you can learn as far as how to manage the money that you have, then the faster you'll get to a point where you're building wealth and you're moving ahead. You're moving in the right direction as opposed to moving backwards where your money is constantly going out. All right. Um, you know, my hope is that by sharing these examples, you know, I'm giving you some tips on how to take a more mindful approach, a more conscious approach to your spending. And that ultimately is a key part of building wealth because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're constantly spending it, well, I wouldn't say all the money in the world, but you could have a lot of money. But if you're constantly spending, if it's constantly going out and there's not more coming in, you'll run out. You're going to run out of money and you're going to find yourself in that paycheck to paycheck cycle that we keep talking about. And that's not the plan. That's not the goal here. All right. Anyways, I hope today's information was helpful. I hope you learned a thing or two. Um Before I go, I want to just kind of talk about something I'm doing for Black History Month. So for Black History Month, I am leading a book study, and it is for this book right here called Financial Literacy for All by John Hope Bryant. Um, I have not read the book yet, but my goal is to use the month of February and a little bit of March, about half of March, to read through the book, kind of 2 chapters a week, about more or less. And then, just kind of take some time to talk about the chapters and, see what we can get from this book. If it's something where you'd like to join the book club, check the links below. There should be a link for a Google sign up sheet, a Google form, where I just ask you for your name and your email address, not to market to you, but just to send you a link to the Zoom meeting. Um, and then there's another link to purchase the book through Amazon. It's currently on sale. I think last time I checked, it was about $16, a little over $16. So great price for the book, and my hope is that it will bring us a wealth of knowledge that we can use in the future. So if you'd like to sign up, please do. I'd love to interact with you online and hear your thoughts on the book as well. All right, let's grow together. Anyways, thanks again for watching. I'm John Green. Today we've talked about being a mindful consumer, just kind of touching upon it. try not to do those, try not to make a lot of impulse purchases, and take control, avoid those impulse purchases. And then to be a mindful consumer, you want to make sure that you are looking at what you're purchasing, considering what you're purchasing. Keep asking yourself, does it align to the goals that you've set forth? All right. And continue to educate yourself. All right. Peace and love, family. I hope you all take care. Well, thank you again for watching this week's episode. We hope that you've learned something interesting, and we hope that you'll continue to follow us here at Unshackled for Life. If you'd like to reach out to us, please do. You can find us online at www.unshackledforlife.com. Unshackled4life.com. Also, please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And please subscribe to us on YouTube as well as wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you very much. Take care.